3, 2, 1.
All right, go ahead and press the red button.
Where have all the flowers gone?
I had a different name when I started, and right in the middle it changed to Pasadena City College. And so that's technically where I graduated from. All my graduations were in the Rose Bowl, and the choir director from All Saints Church led the singing. We always graduated in the Rose Bowl with all of the high schools and junior colleges in Pasadena, which was quite a few. But it was not a big deal. It was such a big school system that being a high school senior was not a big deal. There were 5,000 or 6,000 high schoolers and college kids all on the same campus, and we went to the Rose Bowl and strode our stuff, and then I probably got together with my friends who went to play music in the evening, or listen to music. It was sessions. Went to college at Antioch College in Yellow Springs, Ohio, which is a work-study program and a normal 5-year program. Having gotten involved with Carl Black and eventually getting married and having a baby, I didn't reach graduation exactly when I was due to, but I do believe I've graduated.
What did you study?
Sociology. I was very politically oriented then, and that is study of human interactions in society, something to that effect. And that just appealed to my political interest at the time, and then it comes to appeal to your human interest and the whole structure of society. It's a more modern version than anthropology, which starts on more prehistoric people, and that was some interest, but I like the study of social systems. And I worked as a work-study program. I think my main job was at University of Michigan doing coding for surveys at Survey Research Center there, because that's the first place we went after we were married. We moved to Ann Arbor, had an apartment there. Carl worked. I guess I was working when I was doing coding. That was not studying for the Survey Research Center, and he worked for the computer department then, and computers were not as they are now. They had fancy things like punch cards and sorters to get your basic data out of, and then they'd come over in little places like where I worked, or we would code them so they could go in the punch codes. Coding sheets were about that long and about that wide, with I can't remember how many spots across. And you took surveys that were done in the field by surveyors and coded them survey by survey. And then they ran them through the machine, or maybe they did I guess there were key punchers who punched it in the machine, made little holes in little punch cards. And then the punch cards could do the analysis by running them through computers. And Carl, your dad, Melissa's dad, Ben's dad, worked in the computer part of it. Don't know doing what at this point, because that was a big mystery for computer people. Were big mysteries, did big things. And so we were there for a year. I think I had a year off school. Is that when I got pregnant? I think I probably met him. He was at singing folk songs around in a circle, and he had a guitar among several people who had guitars, and he was really cute, and I don't know. It's so long ago, I don't remember the details all that much. But when we moved out from Ohio, I think the first thing we did was pack everything into a trailer that we were going to haul it all in. You know, all the big stuff, the fat stuff, the heavy stuff, this unit that held all the equipment, the sound equipment. We packed it in a truck, in a trailer, and hooked it to our, I think we had the Ford Fairlane, and it was a station wagon. Loaded it up with kids and stuff, and started driving, and discovered if you went over a bump, the trailer was so heavy it made your front wheels come off the ground. So we drove by Beacons, I think it was, left off a whole lot of stuff. Maybe all of it, I can't remember if we ended up hauling the trailer the whole way or not, since we got rid of it to Beacons. And did we? I'm trying to think of whether we had a house available when we got to California. We lived on La Cresta Road. Do you remember living there?
Yep.
And was a road that the valley's here, and then the road starts up into the mountains, and this was kind of on the first layer of houses up there. We didn't have a lot of money, but that was typical for our cohort in the population.
What was it like raising Melissa?
She was cute. She was very precocious. And you must have been in school when I was riding Ben to nursery school on the back of my bicycle, right?
Yeah.
I rode him into the middle of El Cajon on the back of my bicycle back in the old pump hard days. And
You would ride both of us to swim school.
I did.
You had that little basket on the back, and I remember sitting on the back with the feet in the basket, and then
Where was Ben?
up on your back, or I don't know.
So that would have been younger than when he was going to nursery school, probably.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember going to that swim school on
That
the
wasn't
bike.
very far from home. It was a little bit uphill in the days when we didn't. I don't remember if that bike had any gears in it or not. It may have been a 3-speed. I was doing the League of Women Voters as my really almost full-time job in terms of interests. And I was in several offices. I think I was president for a while, and I did the newsletter for many years. First, we were anti-war in the anti-war movement. That's before they even were up to civil rights, and so we'd picket the Memorial Day parade or whatever it was when they paraded downtown in Pasadena. We picketed them. We picketed other places that were not peaceful, unpeaceful activities and things, and we had a kind of a benefactor. I know Mom and Dad were always worried I was going to get put in jail, but we had a backup person with money who would bail us out should that happen to us. So they were Quakers. The core group of pacifists were Quakers, and he was a Quaker. So they kind of stood behind us. Then we had, I think of it as sort of our celebrity person. One of the older guys in the pacifist group was David McReynolds. And I don't know if you've heard of him, but for many years he ran for president on the socialist ticket.
Oh.
But he was out there then in LA with our pacifist group. And then he moved to New York somewhere along the line and began running for president. So he was pretty well known around there in socialist circles.
Were you ever a hippie?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, they came a little after me, so I was never strictly a hippie. We were called bohemians, and we're the forerunners, I would say.
Did you wear all black?
Not necessarily, but we wore, some wore all black, or you could wear color, but you had long hair and you were très cool. Yeah, and that, you know, that was, I was getting to be a mother in that part of time. But in Antioch, we were our social activists. That's a very activist school, and with the work-study program, some people went out on jobs that were meaningful in social terms. Martin Luther King was just coming into prominence. I remember the day he was shot. I was hanging my laundry up in El Cajon outside, and I always carried my radio everywhere I went with the news on. That's why I always have the sound on. I've always, my whole life, carried a little radio around with the news on 24 hours a day. As I vacuum the house, anything, I would carry it around. Sit it down next to me, and I heard it on my little, it was white, this one, little white leather one, and it was sitting in the gravel at my line at clothesline, the kind that goes around, in El Cajon when Martin Luther King was shot. And we knew that was going to lead to a lot of unrest and bloodshed and all kinds of stuff like that. Heck no, they were Republicans. My dad was very active in the Republicans. And in fact, we have a picture of me when I was assisting him in some campaign, 1948 or something. They took a picture of me. We were on the campaign of the local guy running for Congress. And I wasn't very old, but I was working in his office as the office person, standing watch for a little while. And they had this big stuffed horse. I think it was a real horse stuffed, or either that or it was made to look like a real horse stuffed. And all of the stickers of the candidate. It was when Nixon ran. Nixon, he stand. Put bumper stickers all over the horse, and they took a picture of me for their advertising thing in my cowboy hat. And so I probably still have that somewhere, maybe. '58, I think. I was in college. We took a year off from college and came out and stayed in my parents' garage. They roomed off one of the car spots for us. It may have been originally made for him as his drawing studio, and we occupied it for a year while we worked for money to go to Europe. That was kind of a big deal in Europe, as a lot of kids got co-op jobs over there, but I've never been somebody with a calling to do any particular work. And so I never actually looked for a job on my own, I don't think.
Sounds like me.
So we didn't try working over there. We just took money to go for as long as it held up. And you go to the American Express and get money from home and cash your check. So no matter where you went around Europe, you always had to come back to Paris to get your money. And so I was in Paris a lot of times. So that began to feel sort of like home, and there were a couple of places where we stayed that we liked staying in. No, I don't have any advice. I'm not a very big advice giver. Go with the flow.
Or just like
Try not to get arrested.
All the flowers gone, long time ago. Where have all the flowers gone?
none of your grandchildren have had children yet, but one day they might. And is there anything that you'd like to share with your great-grandchildren about yourself or about their family?
No. There isn't.
Or about what to think about in the world? No, you don't like advice.
I sort of, wonder what the world will be like. Hope there will be honorable and kind people and live full lives and not become crooks or anything like that. And hope some of you guys have sometime there before I'm gone. Which,
It's possible.
it's one of those things that can happen anytime.
Both ways.
I have no plans. And I don't feel like I need plans yet. It's like I'm still ambulating.
Ambulating? What is that?
Getting around.
They're all in uniform, oh, when